Hi there and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Adria, altea Avon. These are a basic walkthrough on how to set up and operate the caravan as if you were coming on or off site. Starting off first, we have your black hitch shed at the front with black lever that you have to have pulled up like so to then be able to wind down the jockey wheel onto the tow bar, causing that to snap down, pushing up that red button and exposing a green ring. Just here we have a breakaway cable. Legality states if you have an eye point it has to be used, if not wrap it around the tow bar. The caravan is fitted with 13 pin electric, so if you have 7 pin make sure to bring yourself an adapter. You have a handbrake just here. Now to disengage all you have to do is press down, and to engage you flick up. Now they can come up with a fair bit of force, so make sure your face isn't in the way. Jockey wheel here travels upright, and you can see you have a little insert where the leg has to go fully into. Now 2 points either side and 2 points at the back, you do have your legs. Now as it is an Adria, you have these positioned towards the front as opposed to the side on a standard van. The caravan itself, it will come with a leg winder. However, if you're planning on using a 19mm drill bit, I'd recommend getting a slightly longer one as they are quite embedded. Do not attempt to jack up or level the caravan using your legs. They're simply used for stabilisation. Now we're using test equipment today, so just here I have a red propane gas bottle. I'd always recommend propane over butane as it has a better performance in winter. Connected onto that, we have a black gas hose just here, and that connects onto this regulator on the top. Now what you'll want to do is hand tighten that as much as you physically can, and then just nip it up using a spanner. You don't want it ridiculously tight as that will put excessive pressure onto the actual O-ring inside the hose. So you just want a gentle nip up. Once both sides are firmly connected, bottle and regulator, twist the gas bottle in the positive or open direction. Moving along, I have an Acrol full of fresh drinking water here and your water pump. Now these work on a trigger system to remove it, so you have to press in on the trigger and pull out like so. I'd also recommend occasionally lubricating those rubber seals. You can see you have this blue cap to go over the top of the Acrol, so no nastiness can get in. And then at the bottom we have your strainer. Now it's crucial that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel to allow the maximum potential of water to come through, as otherwise you may get airlocks. Then when you engage this in, all you have to do is press it in until you hear that click. Battery locker here. This example does have a leisure battery fitted. However, if you were fitting one yourself, you'll need a 12 or 13mm spanner. And obviously you put on the positive terminal first. Then mains plugging in just here, nice and simple. Also at the point for the mover control, and there's a cutout for the mains to sit through. You then have your flue. Now the flue is used to get clean air in and out of your boiler when operating on gas. Don't have to do anything with this except make sure it's nice, clean and tidy. Motor mover will be gone over on collection. And then lastly, we have your toilet function. So, toilet itself, got the cassette. What you have to do to remove it is press up on the handle and pull out towards you. Now this handle does also extend out and up, so it can be used similar to a carry-on suitcase. What you want to do when you're at the appropriate point on side is twist this head to the side, open up this cap like so. You'll then want to tilt the actual box and at the same time continually pressing your vent button. Now my recommendation after you've done that is to open up this capacity here, feed in some nice fresh water, give it a bit of a shake after pushing that all back in the correct position, and again tilting and venting just to try and get rid of any smells. Then on this cap here you have measurements of both imperial and metric, and that is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into there, twist the head back to the side, and then push this in so the orange handle sits behind those white teeth. Then above that we have your flush tank. This has a capacity to hold around 12 litres of water. I would not recommend putting in any more than 10 as you don't want to overfill the capacity. If you're also going to be using pink chemical, don't put in more than a capful as it is a lot denser and can clog the internals, and you also don't actually need that much. Now you don't want to travel with either of these too full, so just up here, got a little bung to drain out any remaining water from the system. The caravan itself will be fully drained off before you leave with it. Underneath your right-hand side seat, you have all of this, so I wouldn't recommend storing anything under here. That is the back of your battery box. You have your fuses and your trip board down here. Now, I'd always recommend carrying some extra fuses across the caravan. You have your blue box here, which is the equivalent of like your brain box for your motor mover. You have 2 switches just here, and those are for both draining off the caravan. Now this blue switch here, it is a case that you have to switch it to the side, and what happens is that button comes out, and then when you're wanting to use it, you have to twist that to the side and then press in. You also have to switch this valve up to the upright position to drain it off. You then also have your boiler just here, which is a Truma combi boiler. Then up here we have your main control panel and also your heating panel. You have your main master on and off switch just here, and then you have your main light switch. Now if you are to turn this off by the master without turning this off, these lights will flash, but it's completely normal. So you've got main lights there. I know it would make more sense for it to be pushed down for the lights on, but it's an Adria. You also have the amount of volts coming into the van, which at the moment is around 13.5, which is about normal for saying I got mains plugged in. And then we also have a pump button just here. Now when you press this down, there's going to be a red light on there. Now what that red light represents is that the water is coming into the boiler itself and being pressurized. That red light will go off when the pump is not pressurizing it. So just be aware of that. You then have the Truma control panel just here. Now you have a dial and you also have a back button just here. So press it in on the dial and you'll come to this screen. So first up we have the motorhome with the thermometer in it. Press in and this goes up to a maximum of 30, and this is for the internal temperature of the caravan that you desire. When I press in, it's going to go to the previous selections. It shows that the flame is on, showing that heating is on. Shows that gas was the previous thing set on, and the fan speed there. We then have water heat, so we either can have it eco, and again whatever I put on it's going to show on the top. Eco will get it to about 40 degrees, hot will get it to about 60, and then you have a boost setting. Now what the boost setting does, it's going to prioritize heating the actual water as opposed to heating the van. That lasts for about 30 minutes, and after those 30 minutes it will then drop it back down to eco. We then have the energy source for what you're going to use for the heating and hot water. So you can either have strictly gas, mixture of gas and 1 kilowatt, mixture of gas and 2 kilowatt, strictly electric with 1 kilowatt, or strictly electric with 2 kilowatts. So you do have the option of gas mains or both. We then have your fan speed, eco or high or boost. Eco nice and steady, high a lot more vigorous, and boost is prioritizing heating the van over heating the water, which again represented on the top, as you can see. Now if I didn't have the water or the heat set on at all, so let's just wind that off, and then I were to go back over to this fan, it would either be off or vent. Now what vent does, it will circulate the air across the caravan, so you could have all your windows open and draw through some nice fresh air. Then just here we have a timer, so you first set the start time in hours then minutes, and then the end time in hours then minutes for when you'd like the heating and hot water to come on. You have your time, which it currently is in 2 minutes past midnight, so just select the correct time. It is a 24-hour clock. And then you have settings just here. Now I'm not going to run through these, but you have offset, temperature, brightness, 12 or 24-hour clock, language, index and reset. If you'd like to learn what those are, I would recommend having a look through your book packs. Now when you are coming to shut down the caravan, you need to actually press and hold this panel in to turn this off first, because what can happen is there can be an error code for when you next come to boost up the caravan for an improper shutdown. So just make sure you turn off that panel there, turn off the lights first, then turn off the master. And as you can see, there was a little bit of a flicker there, which is completely natural. As you can see here, nice steady continuous stream. Now what is happening with that is that at the same time as the water is being released out of here, the Acrol is pulling it back through into the actual boiler itself. So what you want to do is wait about 30 seconds just to pull it through, get it all the way through, just so that you can make sure it's all coming. You'll also see red light on there showing you that the pump is pressurising. I only have it on cold at the moment as the hot water hasn't heated up as of yet, but you want to check on both hot and cold. Then when you're finished, you're happy that it's been checked, turn off the tap there, and when you're coming to drain it off, you want to press in on this button to turn off first the pump, and then you'll want to take your drain valves in the upright position. So flick that up there and twist your isolator to the side. Now do remember, when you do come to use it, you want to push in that button and have that twisted to the side. And just here we have all of your gas components. Now your hob, grill and oven are all just going to operate on gas, so all you have to do is press down, twist it to the side and press in on the actual igniter. Now it may be a case that these will light up and then cut out, or they may take a while to actually light when you first come to use them. That is completely natural, so it's just a case you'll have to relight them. This is what it looks like when they're all lit.
They're going to look at it as if to
As
say,
you can see, all burners nice and lit. Then for the oven, same case, just got to press in and then it will light. Now do make sure as well that these trays are not intruding on the igniter, and then you've just got to switch this to the other side for the grill, and you can see both sides nice and lit. Now the only other things that I'd say, you have to travel with this glass sheet down, but don't put it down until all burners are cold to the touch, and you also do not want to travel with your gas bottle on, so make sure that's off. Now for your fridge operation, you want to press and hold in on this farmost left button. It will flash up and go to its most recent memory, which in this case is gas. Now you may gradually hear it ticking inside. That's completely natural. You don't have to do anything for this, it will light itself. You'll also see when the fridge is on, there's going to be 2 lights on inside. Then to change your source, what you want to do is press in on this button, and that just sort of flashes up a reminder, and then you want to press and hold in. You then have a backwards and a forwards button. So first up, let's go for A, because what A means is automatic, so it's going to switch to what it thinks the best source is. We then have the amount of power coming into the fridge, so 1, 2, 5, and then to select again, press in. Auto has selected mains. You also have a battery symbol just there. Now that battery symbol is only representative of 13-pin electric whilst towing, so don't select that unless you are towing. Now these fridges will take around 4 hours to fully chill, so you can either chill the night before or you can chill whilst towing. Then this little blue light will stay on continuously to represent that the fridge is on. Then to turn it off, press and hold in, turns the panel off, no more lights on at the top. And just here we have your toilet operation. So lift up the lid, press in the button on the top, and you can hear that motor. That motor is what will push through any water across the system. Now as it's not full at the moment, no water's come out. Then to remove your waste, you've got to find the handle, press it away, then pull it back towards you to be able to actually remove the cassette. When the cassette is full, there'll be a red light on there telling you to empty.